All right, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mayor Paul Knitra, and I'd like to officially welcome you all to Point Pleasant Beach. Despite the severity of the current situation, I can tell you it's still very heartening to me to look out into this huge crowd today and see so many caring faces. Now, I'm here today to not only kick things off, but later I'm going to have the honor of introducing two very important people who made this all possible today. I wish we were here under better circumstances, but today we face a grave crisis. Our neighbors in the ocean are dying at an unprecedented rate. Just a few days ago, I stood on the beach less than a mile from here, and I watched as the 9th whale killed during this fiasco bobbed in the surf and eventually came ashore. Let me say, the true gravity of the situation before us doesn't really come into focus until you're next to one of these majestic, intelligent creatures. Socially and intellectually, many researchers believe they're as smart as a 3 to 4-year-old child. Now, since that whale came ashore in Manasquan Beach just 5 days ago, we've already had 2 more incidents. A sperm whale came ashore in Rockaway Beach 2 days ago, and then just yesterday, 3 dolphins were stranded and died in Sandy Hook. 10 dead whales in a 2-month period, and 2 confirmed floating bodies with accompanying coordinates that have come ashore. And we're supposed to believe that there's no coincidence that ships like the Fugro Enterprise, the HOS Browning, and the Emma McCall have been right out there doing their sonar, their vibrocoring, and other disruptive, noisy work at the exact same time. Now, in fact, if you even look at the marine charts and you see the areas that these ships have been in, many say there's a distinct correlation between when a ship is in a certain area and when a whale washes ashore a few days later. Apparently, the powers that be assume we're all idiots, and their silence has been deafening. The only times we hear anything is when they try and push the cause of all of this off on boat strikes. But here's the thing. Even if some whales are dying because of boat strikes, what is causing this massive increased prevalence of boat strikes in such a short period? Whales have been navigating around boats since boats were invented. Why now do they seemingly have an inability to do so anymore? So I wanted to find out, and I wanted to educate myself further. This week I held calls with the Marine Mammal Stranding Center and the Bureau of Ocean Management. And what I found out only further solidified in my mind that the politics behind this are as rotten as the whale corpses washing up on our shores. The Marine Mammal Stranding Center was a very valuable resource. Unlike some other groups that have been involved, they don't take any money from wind energy or other groups promoting wind energy. One of the most important pieces of information that they shared with us is that all of the whales washing up on our beaches are in advanced stages of decomposition. This allows scientists to detect blunt force trauma, propeller strikes, bruising, etc. But it does not allow them to assess the inner ears of whales properly, and this is vital. Toothed whales, like the sperm whales that have washed ashore, navigate mainly through echolocation and have special structures that help in this process. But even non-toothed whales, like baleen whales that have washed up, still use whiskered structure called tubercles and small hairs in their inner ears to gain an understanding of their surroundings through low-frequency sounds. The fact that these vital structures are always too decomposed by the time researchers get to them means that they have been unable to show if the whale's ability to navigate or understand their surroundings better were temporarily or permanently impaired prior to any boat strikes. Now, even more damning is the fact that these wind projects have submitted detailed charts with marine life broken down by species that they anticipate will be harassed. That's the term they use in these documents, harassed and harassment. Now, when I ask, harassment includes changing breeding grounds, Harassment includes causing marine life to move away from feeding areas, and harassment includes disrupting behavioral patterns and even impacting breathing. And there are thousands of marine creatures anticipated in these charts to be impacted by this wind project. So I personally called the Bureau of Ocean Management to find out more about harassment, and their answers stunk as well. When I asked them how there could be thousands of marine animals harassed in a manner that affects their breathing, scientifically affects their behavioral patterns, and causes them to change their location, yet they can't make a connection that the same disruptions could be causing more boat strikes, they only had silence. When I asked why they aren't even willing to take a pause to get to the root cause of all of this, they said that was the administration's decision. They have no problem hypothesizing that global warming is causing whales to feed closer to shore, and that's what's causing the boat strikes, but for some reason, believing that the thousands of marine animals that they have data on getting harassed is a bridge too far for them. Now, the only thing I'd like to encourage every person here today and every person that's going to be watching at home to do is to first follow the money. If your elected official is silent on this, I'm asking you to look into their campaign contributions. See if they've taken money from wind. See if they've taken money from big energy. See if they have political action committees and if they've taken money. There are billions of dollars at stake with this project before us right now. And the money is getting distributed in the sneakiest ways possible. One example is the Pro-NJ Grantor Trust. I believe 9 or 10 towns have already gotten money for special projects through this. It's Big Wind's way to calm things down and to try and gain supporters for this money grab of theirs. Now, I could go into the devastating effects this project's going to have on tourism or the outcry from our commercial and recreational fishing industries, but today is about the whales. I encourage each and every one of you out there to do your own independent research and to spread the word about what is going on here. Demand action. Yeah! You all have the power here. Don't wait until it's too late. And nothing highlights the power that you all have like this rally that we're at today. I didn't organize it. Point Pleasant Beach didn't organize it. No politicians organized it. No nonprofits organized it. This whole rally was started by 2 regular citizens who were simply so frustrated about this travesty before us that they felt compelled to act. These 2 citizens knew that they needed to do something, and they just wanted to make a difference. Trisha DeVoe contacted me a week ago saying that her and her friend Leslie Mangold wanted to do something here. They were going to hold a rally. They asked me if I'd speak, and I happily said yes. Now, they should be your inspiration here today. They highlight that anyone can make a difference. Tonight, when word of what we did here goes out on TV and radio across the country, it'll be because of them. All I ask is that you follow in their footsteps and try and make your own difference. But first, join me in welcoming both of them here to the stage now, Trisha DeVoe and Leslie Mangold.
Deep breath. So Trisha and I are just concerned citizens. And as Mayor Kenitra said, speak up louder. So,
put the mic down.
Okay, is that better? Yeah. Okay, good. Thank you. So, we're concerned citizens. We reached out to the mayor because as he said, we are frustrated and we're upset and we're angry about what's happening, and seeing the whales wash in is breaking our hearts. You're here and you're the voice. So we're here for World Whale Day. Save our whales. I mean, I wrote my words 50 different times, and I'll just make it brief. You know, as their deaths have raised a red flag. as to what's happening in our ocean and what the cause could be. My question was, and tried to find research, is could the sonar mapping be causing this? And I couldn't get answers. So I started to call environmental organizations. I reached out to Trish DeVoe, a friend of mine who works, she's a naturalist, you'll hear her speak shortly, on whales. And together we said we have to do something. I reached out to Clean Ocean Action, who was extraordinarily helpful. And we would not be here today without Mayor Paul Kanitra's help. This is why we're here. I'm going to jump ahead a few pages just to say why, a few more things. 22 whales have washed in the past few months. I think the number is up to 10 now between New York and New Jersey, and the 3 dolphins yesterday. As they say, there's no such thing as a coincidence, and it seems to me there's cause and effect here. Sonar mapping's being done, and whales are dying. We're here to be a voice for the whales and the ocean. Prior to the whale deaths, I was not aware of the impact and extent of what the green energy community calls wind farms. They are not wind farms. It's a beautiful word. It makes it sound beautiful and attractive, but they are factories. Wind factories that will go in off our shoreline. By the way, just here, I believe, and don't quote me, I'm a private citizen, but I believe it's 2.2 million acres of the ocean that these wind farms will be in. That's 1,000 miles of our coastline. So, again, we are here for the whales, we are here for the ocean, and it's World Whale Day, so we want to honor them. As I said before, we're their voice. It's beyond comprehension to me as a private citizen that this was all approved without much research, public input, or public knowledge. I missed it. I read the paper. I don't know. I'm embarrassed to say I was not as aware until recently. The whales have shined a light on this. We own the ocean too, and we should have a voice in what takes place in around it. Please call or write your elected officials. And please raise your concern, ask them to stop or put a halt to it. We have many elected officials here today. I'm honored that they have decided to come. We have guest speakers from all different backgrounds and perspectives, and we have Cindy Zip, who's the Executive Director of Clean Ocean Action, who was a tremendous help as well. So, I don't want to take up any more time, but thank you for being here. Berkeley? Okay. So, Murphy. Okay. So, I didn't call him. Okay. So, thank you, but save our whales. Let's keep the focus on the whales today. So, if I may introduce to you Cindy Zip, the Executive Director of Clean. Oh my God, I jumped ahead in my script. I'm so sorry. It's helped me with this. I apologize. Trisha DeVoe, my friend and naturalist, Trisha DeVoe. Thank you.
I'm a little short. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me okay? All right. Well, hello. I want to thank you all for coming out today on World Whale Day for the Save Our Whales rally. I am honored to be here to speak with you today. I come here as a concerned citizen and to be a voice for the whales. Now, to give you a little background on myself, my name is Trisha DeVoe. I have a master's degree in conservation biology from Columbia University. Thank you. Thank you. And I currently work as a naturalist for Miss Belmar Whale Watching. So yes, my job is to go whale watching. How great is that? Yes, I do. I have the best job in the world. I get to take people whale watching and share my knowledge and passion for humpback whales with them. And I get to share in the joy and excitement they experience when they see these beautiful, majestic creatures out in the wild. So yes, I love my job and I love humpback whales, which is why we're here today. So we hear all the time on Miss Belmar that people had no idea that we had whales here. Now, while it's true that humans push whales to near extinction with overhunting and polluting our waters, massive efforts over the past 50-plus years with the enactment of the Marine Mammal Protection Act, the Clean Water Act, and the hard work of Clean Ocean Action and Cindy Zip, our guest speaker today, our ocean is finally a thriving, healthy marine ecosystem. All of you that live here know how beautiful our oceans are. The water's crystal clear, we have an abundance of fish and marine life, and that's actually what's attracting our whales to this area. We have very large amounts of Atlantic menhaden or bunkerfish, which is a main food source for the whales. Now, we see humpback whales in our area from March to November, which coincides with their feeding season, and they are here to feed on all our bunkerfish. In the winter months, most of the whales will migrate south to the breeding grounds in the warmer Caribbean waters, with just a handful of younger whales staying up north because they're not yet of breeding age. But from spring to fall, we are blessed with a great number of humpback whales, and it's so exciting to see. Now, we take a lot of photos on our trips, but one of the photos we especially want is of the whale's tail flukes. This is because we can identify individual whales based on the pattern on the underside of these flukes. So every pattern is unique, much like a human fingerprint. So by documenting and keeping track of these sightings over the years, we've been able to learn a lot about the whales in our area. For example, we know that on average, humpback whales will stay in our area for 37 days. And many whales return to our coast year after year. A very well-known humpback whale named Jerry has been coming to our area for every year for 10 years now. But unlike most of our humpback whales, you don't need to see Jerry's tail flukes to identify him because he has very prominent scars on his side from a boat propeller. Now, fortunately, Jerry survived this boat strike, but he carries the scars from his injuries with him. Now, I know you're not supposed to have favorites, but I confess I do have a favorite humpback whale. And my favorite is a calf that we call Squirt, who visited with us here in 2021 with his mom. Now, this mom and calf pair stayed in our area for 3 weeks, and it was amazing to observe them. We saw the mother teaching little Squirt how to lunge feed, and we saw this little whale breaching completely out of the water time and time again, which is very common for younger whales. Just like our young children, young whales have a lot of energy and they like to jump and spin and play, and Squirt was no different. So when this mom and calf pair moved on from our area, we didn't know if we would ever see Squirt again. Whales only stay with their moms for the first year of their life, and then they're on their own. Well, we were so excited when in April this past season, Squirt showed up again in our area. This time without his mom, but still full of that young whale energy. Now, there are posters over here on the fence, on the wall over there, with pictures of Jerry and Squirt. And on this banner behind us, these are all photos that we've taken on Miss Belmar on our trips. And these are whales that we've seen right here in our area. Right here, sometimes right off this beach. So these are not whales that we just see once and never again. They come here every year and they live and feed off our shore. They're our ocean residents. They're our whales, and we have a responsibility to protect them. So as you can see by all these beautiful photos behind me, not the ones in front of me, clearly, the 2022 whale watching season was our best season yet. We had consistent sightings every day and on every trip, and many trips we had multiple whale sightings. Things were looking great for our whale populations. They were healthy and active, and everything was great. And then suddenly in December, whales started dying. They started washing up dead on our shores. We had 7 whales wash up in a little over 2 months' time in New Jersey and 3 in the New York area, with 2 whale strandings this very week, one right on the other side of this inlet and the other one in Rockaway Beach. Now, this is a big problem and a cause for great alarm. But if you don't particularly love humpback whales like I do, you might wonder, why should you be concerned? Well, the fact of the matter is, anyone who's concerned about climate change and the air we breathe should be concerned about such an unusually high number of whales dying. Now, this is because whales play a key role in fighting against climate change. Whales are known as carbon sinks. And what this means is whales accumulate carbon in their massive bodies over their long lifespan. When they die, they sink to the bottom of the ocean and take that carbon with them. Each great whale takes an average of 33 tons of CO2 out of the atmosphere and keeps it out for centuries. But when the whales are alive, they play an even bigger role in keeping our atmosphere clean, basically by eating and pooping in our ocean. Now, I know that may sound gross to some of you, but whale feces is very important because it fertilizes the ocean and produces phytoplankton blooms. Phytoplankton not only provides nourishment for zooplankton and other marine life, but phytoplankton produce 50% of the oxygen that we have and captures approximately 40% of all the CO2 produced in the world. This is the equivalent of 1.7 trillion trees or 4 Amazon rainforests. Yeah. So whales play a very key, vital role in reducing greenhouse gas levels and providing us with clean air to breathe. So we all need whales, and whales are in critical danger right now. The National Ocean and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, has declared an unusual mortality event for humpback whales. Now, under the Marine Mammal Protection Act, any unusual mortality event is defined as, and I quote, a stranding that is unexpected, involves a significant die-off of any marine mammal population, and demands immediate response. So my question is, what is the immediate response? And is it enough?
No.
In just 2.5 months' time, we lost 10 whales in the New Jersey and New York area, which is more than the average for the entire year. Now, NOAA has been conducting necropsies to determine the cause of death of these whales. And as the mayor mentioned, most of the necropsy results indicate the whales died from vessel strike. Now, these were primarily healthy, beautiful young whales who avoided vessels all summer long when we have so many boats out there, and suddenly they can't navigate away from oncoming vessels? We must ask why. Why at a time when we have less whales in our oceans and less vessel traffic are we having more whales getting struck by vessels and dying? It doesn't make sense. What is different in our ocean now? There are a lot of unanswered questions, and we need to demand a full and thorough investigation into what is causing these deaths, not just off of our shores, but along the entire eastern seaboard. We are up to 23 whales that have stranded since December, 2 of them being the critically endangered North Atlantic right whale. And just yesterday, as you heard, we had 3 dolphins, 2 adults and 1 juvenile that tragically stranded, suffered, and died in Sandy Hook. Something is very wrong. Our whales are dying at an alarming rate, and we need to find out what is causing this and stop it immediately.
Murphy, get rid of them.
Friends, whales do so much for us by providing us with healthy oceans, clean air to breathe, and the pure beauty and joy of seeing them out there in the wild. It is now time for us to do something for the whales. We need to be a voice on land for our friends at sea. They are in a battle for their lives, and they need all of you to become whale warriors and fight for them. We need you to speak out, get involved, demand answers, and work together to save our whales. Thank you very much. I'm going to turn it over now to Mike Dean, a fellow concerned citizen and an ocean advocate. Welcome. It's for the whales. It's for the whales. Well done.
Thanks, Trish. Well done. Very well done. Yes, I'm Mike Dean. I'll be quick. We thought it would be a good idea just to give an overview of what's going on out there, what everybody keeps talking about. There's a couple of these poster boards. Can everybody hear me out there? Yes. Okay. There's a couple of these poster boards hanging out regarding the wind farm. Thank you very much. The wind farm projects that are going on. showing what's taking place in our oceans up and down the coast. We can pass this one around. All right, how's that going? Much better? Okay, so again, I'm Mike Dean. I'm a concerned citizen. I live up in Monmouth County, just up the coast. I lifeguarded in North Wildwood as a younger man. My kids lifeguard in Long Branch now. I spent many a summer renting houses down here in Point Pleasant with Mayor Paul, or no Mayor Paul. But like I said, we wanted to give an overview of sort of what the projects are that are going on out there. I'll be very quick, a couple minutes. So these poster boards are out there. In 2013, BOEM issued its first lease up here off of Block Island for a wind farm. There's a small wind farm up there. It's 5 turbines. It was constructed in 2015 and it became operational in 2016. Since that time, BOEM has leased plots of the ocean, of the seabed, all the way down the eastern seaboard. That one we're passing around now shows you it goes all the way to South Carolina. So this is what's going on out there, and it's been going on since 2015. Here in New Jersey, we have a handful of leases that were brought online at different points over the last 8 years. We haven't had any construction yet. It's only leasing and surveying and siting going on. So I'll give you a sense of where we are. There's basically 4 big lease areas in New Jersey. Furthest south here is two big lease areas. The furthest one south is Ocean Wind. That's the farthest along. That's owned by Ørsted. There's 2 pieces of it, Ocean Wind 1 and Ocean Wind 2. Just above that is Atlantic Shores. That's off of Atlantic City, and it'll be off of LBI too. So we have wind farms planned from Stone Harbor all the way up to the top of Long Beach Island. Up here, more closer to us, is what is Empire Wind. That's a company called Equinor. If you drive around here and you have the radio on, you hear the commercials all the time. They're on all day long. So that's going to be a New York power supply. You're going to be able to see it from right here, actually. It's 19 miles off of Long Branch, and it's about 21 miles off of Long Beach, Long Island. Just in terms of numbers, we're looking at the 4th area was what they call the New York Bight. It's really off of New Jersey's coast. It's further out. But these leases were just sold. There's 6 pieces of land out there. These were sold last summer, and they're just starting siting on them. So they're out there siting and surveying those plots to figure out where their construction is going to take place. Well, so the federal government takes the money for that land, and we're responsible for looking at them. But I just want to point out one thing. So all these 9 leases up here in the southern New England waters all came online, and they're in various stages of pre-petition and pre-construction up in, just so everybody can see, up in the southern New England waters. That's been going on for 6 years now. We keep hearing NOAA say the recent activities predate, the whale deaths predate the recent activities that are going on. That's just not factual. And if there's people here from the press, I'm tired of hearing them say that this is predated, these activities are predated. They don't. They've been going on since the 2015-16 period, and they've been studying a whale event since then. We haven't had any answers from where that study's been. So I asked the press to stop, when they give you that line, just question them on it. And I would ask our congressman here, if we're going to have an investigation, ask them what happened to the study. What have they found out in 6 years? So we have whales washing up every day now. So that's our concern. And just real quick, in terms of numbers and dates and whatnot, off on Ocean Wind 1 down here off Ocean City, that's going to be 90-story turbines. Ocean Wind 2 has not been finalized yet, but it'll be between 50 and 70 most likely. Atlantic Shores, stretching from Atlantic City up to the top of LBI, will be 200 90-story wind turbines. Empire Wind off here, off of Long Branch and Long Island, will be another 148. And then this back piece, they're not sure, and none of these New York Bight areas are they sure about yet. So we do need a moratorium. Like Trish said, I want to thank Trish and Leslie for putting this together. It's unbelievable. Trish said, and Congressman Smith corrected me. She said, "We're just concerned citizens. We're not just anything. We're citizens. This is our ocean, right?" And we need some answers. So that's all I have for now. I'll be around if anybody has questions on the project. Thanks for coming, everybody.
Okay, I'm only up here for a second. Since I'm new at this, and Cindy Zip has got a lot of experience, Clean Ocean Action, I'm asking her to introduce everyone. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Congressman. Okay, louder. So I'm asking Cindy Zip, Executive Director of Clean Ocean Action, to please introduce everyone, because I think she's has a lot more experience in front of a microphone than I do. Thank you. Okay.
He was going to go.
Right. So you can introduce.
Okay. All right. Well, hi everyone. I'm Cindy Zip from Clean Ocean Action. Thank you all so very, 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 very much. I want just give yourselves a pat on the back of the person next to you for showing up today and speaking out for the whales. This is so really incredible. We understand there's a ton of folks down the boardwalk there. We want to thank you so much. We had a drone photographer he's over there. Okay, if you could all just hold up your signs, if we could have that drone photographer come up here before we run out of power. Chris, could you bring the drone up here and show all the signs? Hold them up for the drone. Get these people involved. Come on up. There he goes. All right. Here he goes. All right, show us your sign. Wave. Fists up for the ocean. All right, thanks. So he'll be taking those photos. Thank you so much. We have a really stellar lineup of folks. You've heard so much already, but I want to thank Leslie and Trish so much from the bottom of my heart. We've been fighting this fight for a bunch of years, and lots of folks just couldn't get their heads wrapped around what was going on. They couldn't understand, what do you mean they're going to be doing all this stuff offshore? But when the whales started dying, they really sent a message to all of us, and whether it's an alarm or an omen, however you want to look at it, a call for help. They've sent the message loud and strong, and thanks to Trish and Leslie, we're all here today to mark it, to be witnesses, and to keep the fight going. We have two members of Congress here, which is super, super, super important. They're here today. I'm going to introduce Congressman Smith. This is his district. And Congressman Van Drew will speak following him. From South Jersey, where many of the whales have been washing up. I have had the pleasure to work with both of these men on issues protecting the ocean for many, many, many years. The ocean has always had bipartisan protection and bipartisan support from all of our elected officials. They have worked with us on stopping offshore oil and gas drilling for decades. It's been a great source of pride for me around the country when there weren't that many people that had bipartisan support from their elected officials to stop offshore drilling, to stop liquefied gas facilities, to stop methane pipelines from being put in our ocean. So we are really, truly protected. We have great leadership in Washington, and they're going to get it done. They've got some great plans. We're going to hear from them now.
Cindy, thank you so very, very much. And to Leslie and Trish, thank you for your extraordinary leadership. It is making all the difference in the world. And I do want to thank Cindy Ziff. Cindy Ziff, I said it when I was talking to her earlier in the week, is a force. She has made such a difference to our ocean, to its ecosystems, and all the rest for decades. And I can't thank her enough for her leadership. I'll be very brief because it is kind of cool out here, but frankly, the warmth that's being generated by all of you and the compassion and the concern you have for the whales and for the entire ecosystem right behind us is extraordinary. You know, today the whales are sending us a tragic message that demands transparency and accountability, both of which have been sorely missing from Governor Murphy's plan to use New Jersey's coast as the prime location for offshore wind industry. Questions and concerns that have been raised by all of us, including my good friend and colleague Jeff Van Drew and I and many others, have gone unanswered, including the unexplained deaths of at least 10 whales. There is great concern for the potential serious, even catastrophic damage to marine ecosystems leading to the destruction of New Jersey's fishing and tourism businesses if hundreds and perhaps even thousands of wind turbines are installed off our coast. Thus far, sound surveys and underwater noise generated by acoustic vessels have occurred. But you know this as well as I. The next steps include construction, pile driving, creating high-intensity underwater noise. What impact does this noise have on whales, dolphins, and other mammals, and the fragile fish habitats and marine survival itself? Without serious, aggressive, and independent analysis of the impact of these projects, they must minimally be paused. All of you know this. The wind turbines are not, once installed, it's not over and done. They last on average 20 to 25 years. Then they have to be replaced. A month ago, and I commend this to your reading, there was an excellent article in Bloomberg with the headline, and I quote, "Wind turbines taller than the Statue of Liberty are falling over. Breakdowns of towers and blades have bedeviled manufacturers in the U.S. and Europe." And it noted that Ørsted, and we know that name, the largest developer of offshore wind, asked authorities in April to stop maritime traffic near some of its sites after blades fell into the water off the coast of Denmark. The article points out, and I quote, "There's no publicly available industry-wide data on turbine failures. We don't even know how often they fail, and they'll be right off the coast here." Again, Ørsted, and Jeff has been dealing with this for years now, down in South Jersey, is developing New Jersey's first wind farm. No elected office holder, including President Biden or Governor Murphy, or any bureaucrat, should advance such a sweeping, potentially dangerous policy without meaningful input from you, the people, including local officials. And as I think all of you know, just on Friday, local officials were again bypassed in South Jersey as they push this project. We want the truth. We demand to be heard and our deep concerns addressed, not trivialized, mocked, or dismissed. The people of New Jersey deserve better. On Friday, I introduced legislation, and I'm working alongside my good friend and colleague Jeff Van Drew, to require the Government Accountability Office to review and investigate the sufficiency of the environmental review process for offshore wind projects. We ask a number of important questions in the legislation, and we also want to find out stakeholders. Who did they talk to? You know, and when you do send in a comment, who reads it and what impact and what import does that have? Nothing. We want to know who's paying for it all. Do you know? I don't know. We have no idea. Finally, let me conclude on this one. In 2012, New Jersey faced Superstorm Sandy. And I remember being here in all our coastal towns in my district, and I was shocked by the devastation, but I was equally not surprised, encouraged by the tenacity of our people to rebuild. We never quit. New Jersey's strong. But it does raise the question, how vulnerable are wind turbines to superstorms, nor'easters, and hurricanes? One Carnegie Mellon University study in 2012 found that, and I quote them in pertinent part, there is very substantial risk that Category 3 and higher hurricanes can destroy half or more of the turbines at some locations. We're talking about right off the coast, huge storms. What happens? The time for the pause at least is right now. We call on the governor to do that.
Congressman Van Drew.
So it is good. I wish I could say it's good to be with you, but I wish it was for a different reason. Let me say a few things right at the beginning. How much I value my friendship and the work that I do with Congressman Smith. And it is such a pleasure to be in his district. I have half of Ocean County. He has the other half of it. He does a great job. And I'm really proud of what he's done about human trafficking, about children, and of course about this issue now. Chris, thank you. Thank you. I also want to say, never let anybody tell you that two women and Cindy Ziff can't make a fuss. Holy cow! Holy cow, man! The third thing I'm going to tell you, and then I'm going to talk, and I'll try not to be too long either. I'm a little rough around the edges. So I may say some things that are a little harsher, a little tougher, and a little ruder. It won't be towards you. I've been dealing with this for over 3 years. Now my district is Cape May County, Atlantic County, part of Ocean County, Cumberland County, Salem County. I have 6 counties and 93 towns. So it affected a lot of where I live, the people I know, the people who work with me. And this all started over years ago when some fishermen came to me. And they said, I know, because they were the first one, they really were. Nobody knew, but they're out in the ocean all the time. They said, you're not going to believe what they want to do. And they sat down with me and they told me the whole story. So I went to Orsted because I'm always a person of good faith and I want to give everybody a chance. And I said to them, we've got real issues, real problems. You've really got to look at this and you've got to modify what you're doing. Here's the part that's bad, and this is where I'm rough. They lied. They told me they were going to meet with fishermen and environmentalists and make it better. I saw them a number of months later, a number of years later. We've been going through this for a while. I asked them if they met with them. They said, we have, and they're happy. Everything is worked out. I swear to God. They lied again. They were, you know what? Again, a little rough, but they were full of crap. And they continue to be. So we had a meeting. We had a big thing in the Wildwood Convention Center, 150 people there, mostly fishermen, some environmentalists, some other folks. And I asked Orsted, in front of all these people, and they said, yes, we have met, we have discussed, and things have been worked out. I said to the 150 people that were there, have any of you met with them? 2 people raised their hand. They worked for Orsted. Nobody else had met with them. They hadn't listened or worked with anybody else. And I want you, and I know you know, you're here, but to understand what these things are about. They are over 1,000 feet tall. They have lights on top of them. They are 3 times the Statue of Liberty. There's going to be hundreds of them up and down our coast. There are lubricants in them that can definitely, absolutely go into our ocean and will. They will hurt our fishing industry. They will destroy a great deal of it. They will hurt and destroy tourism. They will hurt our environment, so importantly. There's something called the cold pool, one of the most environmentally sensitive areas in the world that is going to be profoundly impacted and hurt because of this. This is not a joke. This is the real thing. We are in trouble at this time, in this place, It is up to us. It is up to us to stand up and to fight. It is up to us to tell this governor and this president that you don't crap on the Jersey Shore. Unless you're a whale, she's right. But then it's your place and it's your right. And let me tell you what else is going on. Everybody says, why is this happening? What's making it happen? What's going to happen? And I'm going to say it. Money. There is so much money floating around, you can't believe it. There are billionaires around the world who are going to make money off of this like you could never imagine. Your utility rates are going to go up. Your tourism is going to go down. Your fishing is going to go down. Your environment is going to go down. We're going to ruin our way of life at the Jersey Shore. We people like Cindy Ziff fought so hard for so many years, and I do get emotional about this. I love this place. This is my district. This is the gem of the ocean. And damn it, we shouldn't let this happen. So it is up to us. And we're going to keep fighting. I want to tell you something, too. This is about freedom. You know what they did? The city of Ocean City said, we want nothing to do with this. They want to tie everything underground in the city of Ocean City with cables. They said, we don't want it, we're zoning it out. You're not going to believe this because we still think we have freedom, but I wonder sometimes. In the state legislature, led by Senator Sweeney, they passed a bill, legislation, which I think is unconstitutional, this legislation, that said that when it comes to this project, that your zoning doesn't count, that your opinion doesn't count, that your ideas and your laws in that town don't count. They just pushed it through against what the people wanted, against what the elected officials wanted, and it was pushed through, and they say they're going to tie the cables underneath Ocean City, and they're going to try to fight it. The Cape May County Board of Commissioners are going to fight it. Atlantic County people are fighting it. I know in Ocean County people are going to fight it. And I know that other congressmen are going to fight it. Congressman Andrew Harris, Dr. Harris, who is in Maryland, is with me, and Chris, and he's going to fight it. We have congressmen in Long Island and other areas that are going to fight it. So we are going to have people that are going to stand up. There's work to be done here. We have to stand up, we have to be strong, and we have to keep pushing. We can't let the money talk. So I'm going to wrap this up, but I just want to say to you, this is really, truly, word of honor, man. I know it's hard to take a word of honor from the politicians, but word of honor. And again, forgive me, but no bullshit. This is a bad thing that's happening, and we're going to lose our coast. We're going to lose our shore. We're going to lose everything that matters to all of us that we fought so hard for. There's some of us, including me, that have been around enough years that remember when the tar balls. I was a kid that was always playing the ocean. And people like Cindy Ziff stopped it. People like you stopped it and said we're not going to put up. Are we going to stop this? Are we going to fight together? Are we going to make sure to keep our ocean clean? God bless you. We're going to win. Last thing. I have legislation I am going to sign on, and I have signed on to Senator Smith's legislation. We have legislation to actually have a moratorium, to stop it completely. I don't want to delay it. I don't want to slow it down. They can fix the books. They can cook the books. I just want to stop it. It's a bad idea for New Jersey and for South Jersey. God bless all of you.
incredible. Thank you so much. To our congressman, that's a federal. We have a couple more folks to speak. We have people that actually work these waters who have been fighting this for years and even more, almost a decade. There are people that have been working the water that represent the fishermen. We have Bonnie Brady, is Executive Director of the Montauk Fishermen's Alliance, and she's here. She's been fighting this. She is an encyclopedia, I call her, of offshore wind information. And then after our speakers, we're going to give you some direction on what you can do specifically following this rally to continue the fight. Bonnie, oh yeah, of course, always, absolutely.
I'm going to stay right up here with Bonnie. This takes 30 seconds. I forgot the most important part. Within the month, we're going to have a meeting down here, a congressional meeting in South Jersey about this issue. And then after that, I'm on the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee. We're going to have a meeting, an official congressional meeting in Washington, D.C. as well.
Okay, can you guys hear me? All the way in the back, let's hear it, because I've been back there. When you guys are finished signing those petitions, please bring them back toward the front. We really appreciate it. I'm Bonnie Brady. I'm with the Long Island Commercial Fishing Association. We are in Montauk, New York, but I am a Jersey girl, South Orange and West Orange representing. Thank you. Spent my summers down in Tuckerton and Mystic Isle at my grandparents' house and in LBI at Bay Village. I just want to say this is amazing. You guys are so, it's great to see this many people that care so much, that can help in this fight, because we need every single one of you. I've been doing this since 2003, when they wanted to put 200 megawatts of turbines in 3 miles of water just south of Jones Beach. The only reason it stopped that time is because it costs 4 to 6 times more than any other energy source. But now that doesn't matter. And so these whales and the other animals that are involved in the ocean, I'll go really quick because I know you guys have been waiting a long time. Level B harassment, which I heard you speak really well about. It's not seismic air guns. That's not it. They do that in other kinds, but they're not doing it here. What they're doing is sub-bottom profiling. They don't have to take air guns and blast it miles into the floor to find oil and gas. They just want to go 200 to 300 feet under the ground so they can pile their wind turbines into the ground. It's low-frequency sound that harasses breeding, feeding, eating, communicating. It also can cause something called temporary temporal shifts in hearing, TTS. Temporary deafness. So you all can imagine what it's like if you're a whale and you're in the water and it's dark and you can't see and you use low frequency sound to communicate and suddenly you can't hear. Sylvia Earle, that was NOAA's first chief scientist, that as a woman, said a deaf whale is a dead whale, and I would agree with her. That just starts what happens. Once they get to pile driving, then they have level A takes. That's permanent deafness. And yes, that's, if you're a whale, that's a problem. Everything that you all have done to organize and the things that the congressmen have done and the legislation and these hearings, it matters because basically NOAA, or actually BOEM, is saying, nothing to see here. We have no direct information. If you don't look, you will never find it, and we need to find it. So I want to thank the Congressman. Huge. There are so many other issues. What I think everyone needs to do here that took the time to be here today is you've got to organize amongst yourselves. They have these offshore wind construction and operation plans are thousands of pages long. You need to be able to work together, break yourself into groups, have a reading circle, whatever it takes to go through these documents and then comment on them. The same thing for the incidental harassment authorizations. They have those when they're doing the survey work. The UMEs, the unusual mortality events for whales, started in 2016 for humpbacks and 2017 for minke and North Atlantic right whales. Yet nonetheless, here we are 7 years later going, gee, we don't know. Yeah, it's a real shame. Sorry. They need to investigate now. They need to open up all their books. We need to go and look on the survey boats. Hey, protected species observers, can we talk to you anonymously? What are you guys seeing? Can we talk to the crew? Can we see the logbooks? If you line up where the surveys are with things that happen, I don't know, there might be a correlation. We really need to find out, and right now, unfortunately, our federal people that are in charge of this, nothing to see here, move along. I think if they saw this crowd today, they'd realize we're not moving along. Thank you all very much.
Yeah, Rick, come on up. All right, I understand. If you can believe this, there are estimates. There are 1,000 people here today defending our ocean, defending our whales. Rick, really fast. Rick, you look old, really fast.
Okay. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I'm a commercial fisherman here in Point Pleasant Beach. We started this battle over 7 years ago. We've been testifying on the impacts here at the Jersey Shore, actually around the country, right? So the takes that have been taking place since this all started is close to 200 whales going from Maine to Florida, right? Now, just recently, this is a 1,500-page document from just one of the developers, and this is a request for a whaling permit. That's what this is. This is to take whales off the Jersey Shore, right? And it's not just one whale, right? When I first read the original environmental impact statement, they said that they wanted to take 3 whales. This one here, just one development out of 30 on the entire from Maine to Florida, wants to take up to 60. Right? This is a whaling permit application, and every development site is going to submit one, right? So if you multiply 60 times 30, we know what we're talking about. Now, when you read about the right whale population, you're going to hear fluctuations between 250 and 350. The number you want to keep in mind is 60. There's less than 60 female whales that can breed now on the East Coast. Right? So it's not 250, it's not 350, it's less than 60 now since we've had a couple extra ones beach. Right? When you want to talk about, right? Hold on, I want to read a quote. Right? So the commercial fishing industry, we provide anecdotal information. Right? And everybody keeps on saying, well, where's the science? Well, I want everyone here to know the science exists. We have the science now, right? The science is coming from Australia. The science is coming from also VIMS, right? VIMS, the Virginia Marine Mammal Stranding, the Virginia Institute for Marine Science. And I'd like to read a quote. This is from page 762, right? Environmental Policy Review, volume 32, semicolon 759, right? There is no longer a serious scientific debate about the connection between sound and marine mammal mortality. The science exists, right? And all you need to do is look for it. There's a lot of paperwork here. There's a lot more development sites that are going to take place. In the next 2 years, Bureau of Ocean Energy Management, which is Department of Interior, is looking to lease out 24 more sites nationwide. Right? Yeah, I have the documents. I've been doing this for too long. Thank you so much for everything that you've done. Right? And thank you everyone for coming here today. Let me just leave it at that. Right? The commercial fishing industry is on this. Here. I want everybody to know that we can win. Right? And I don't mean win. Right? See this? This is called wind waves. This was going to take place here in the New York Bight area, right? The mud holes. A lot of you are probably familiar with the mud hole, right? Well, in February, they went to go lease 8 sites. Only six of them were leased out. We protected the mud hole from development. You won't see that in the newspapers, right? You won't see that on television because we defeated the industrial wind energy companies, right? And we can defeat them again, right? We need to go after their money. We have to go after the people who are funding them, and that's how we stop this development here, and that's how we're going to stop them from developing the rest of the country. Thank you.
Yes, thanks, Brick. Okay, now I'm going to introduce the fabulous mayor of this town, who's going to introduce a couple of our more state and local officials. We need them all. We need federal, we need state, we need local, and they need all of us. Here he goes. Back, Mayor Keniccia.
Well, here we are. We've heard some from a few incredible speakers so far, haven't we? Let's give them all a round of applause. And if you can listen to what they had to say, if you can listen to the facts and the figures and the data, and you don't think that we need a moratorium, you either don't have a heart or you're making money on this project, right? So look, it's not just the federal officials, it's also the state officials and the mayors of the towns up and down the Jersey coast that are going to be impacted by this. So we have a bunch of local officials here who want to talk a little bit about what's going on in the State House in Trenton and what also is going on in their own backyards as well. First, I'm going to start off, we have Assemblyman Jerry Scharfenberger, and then we have Assemblyman John Catalano.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, everyone, for taking time out on this Sunday to come out for such an important cause. I'm going to give you a quick update on what's happening with this at the state level. A little over a month ago, my colleague Vicki Flynn and I called for a moratorium, along with Congressman Van Drew and Smith, which was completely ignored by the governor. No surprise, but we can fight back against this one. This past Thursday, I'm on the Environment Committee for the Assembly, and I called for a special hearing, a joint hearing of the Senate and the Assembly on this particular topic, the death of these whales. And so far, nothing has happened, but we're working on that one. And I'm going to tell you how you can help out in a minute. One of the things that we have to get through to, and let me tell you, nothing happens unless the possibility of not doing so has a political price attached to it. And that's where you guys come in here. What I'd like you to do is to call the governor's office. Tell him to stop the presidential campaign for a minute. Tell him to put an immediate moratorium on all of this testing that's going on out there until we have answers. Not a minute before, no 30-day stop, no 60-day stop, until we have answers on exactly what's going on here. Now, you do that, you fill his inbox, call the governor's office and demand this. He hears that. You're not advocates for these whales, you're voters. And that's the only thing that gets these people's attention, is to have voters come, voters call, voters be angry, and voters threaten them with their precious jobs. That's the only thing that gets through to any elected official. And I'm standing here as one. Trust me, that's what works. So with that, I'm going to get out. There's a lot of people who want to speak. I want to thank you for coming down here. I want to tell you that we're going to ask every town, including this one, Mayor Keniccia, to pass a resolution asking for the moratorium on this. We're working on legislation at the state level also, which we're in the minority, so it may be a little bit tough. There's a lot of advocates for wind turbines there. I heard from one of them when I had the nerve to call for a moratorium. But they're out there. We have to push back and not give up. Not give up, be relentless from every municipality, every county, and every state legislator. So with that, thank you everyone for coming out. God bless, and we're going to win this thing.
Should we email too?
Good afternoon, everyone. Back beginning of this week, Mayor Paul called me and he said, "John, I'm going to have a little gathering on the Point Beach Boardwalk. Do you think you could stop by?" I said, "Sure." Wow, what a great event! Thank you to everybody that came. Wonderful, wonderful. You know, about a week before I was first sworn in for my first assembly session, in my office we had a meeting with Orsted. First, I agree. The first meeting I ever had as an unsworn in elected official. But they left that office and they knew they didn't have any type of support for what they were pushing down our throat. So with all of you, with the Congress folks, we're going to stop this. And I had a very short conversation with Congressman Smith, and besides these congressional hearings, I think this may now be a time for a federal injunction to try to get this done. I think Mr. Murphy thinks that these whales up on our beach are the circle of life. I don't think so. I think it's maybe the circle of his political life that needs to go. So join my office. We did a press release at the end of this week calling for the moratorium, that he needs to do something. But join my office in writing, calling, as Assemblyman Scharfenberger said, call Murphy's office and let him know the irate inside your body.
Governor Murphy doesn't care. He doesn't give a shit.
Right. Well, join us and call his office, write his office, and let him know that he needs to put a moratorium on what's going on our beautiful shores, so that we'll have beautiful shores. So again, thank you very much for coming. Contact our office if you have any ideas, anything that we can do for you, whether it's the state or the federal. So keep the good fight up, and we'll get this done. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Kenitra. I'm Mayor John Peterson of Seaside Park, and I'm honored to be here and thank those that organized this very, very much. I echo the words of our congressman here. I have some rough edges on this issue, and I've stood with Cindy Zip and Clean Ocean Action for 4 decades, and when we fought oil off our coast, we fought wood burning off our coast, and they always seem to sweep everything under the rug and make our beautiful ocean, our Jersey Shore, their collateral damage for the cabal of big money and big business that is behind this absolutely foolish, obsolete technology even before it's up and running.
That's right.
And it is an absolute outrage. And I will also join the comments. I've heard the word lie before. The federal officials from BOEM and otherwise have lied. And I say that because for some odd reason, you can put 2 and 2 together. All the hearings about the offshore wind farms, they use the word farm, and I could use a strong word for that as well. But all those hearings were crammed together right around the holiday season to make sure nobody went on their computer. I demanded that they hold an in-person hearing here on the Jersey Shore, and we will all be there. And I still call on that. All those hearings were over the computer right at the end of December, and you look around on their screen, there's only 3 squares because everybody's busy with their families and otherwise. You know that was by design. And it's time that the people spoke back to BOEM and otherwise and end this outrage. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm Mayor Greg Meyer of Stafford Township in Southern Ocean County. We're the gateway community to Long Beach Island, about 17 miles of ocean coastline. Our community is not an oceanfront community, but we have over 100 lagoons that are all on the Manahawkin Bay and the Barnegat Bay. So the conservation of our oceans is very important to me, and I realize, you hear this phrase a lot, think globally, act locally. That's what I did this past summer with Mayor Kenitra during the sea turtle release right off the shores here. And I'm sad to be here today seeing that there are over 10 whales have recently washed ashore on New Jersey and New York. I spoke with Mayor Kirk Larson of Barnegat Light on the island earlier this morning. He's been a commercial fisherman for over 50 years, and he said he has never seen anything like this before. There's something going on. There's questions. We're told to follow the science. We need to follow the science now. When we do that, we need to get this moratorium in place because it's ridiculous that this is happening. And yes, we did, down in Stafford, we did pass that local resolution, Assemblyman Scharfenberger, calling on for this moratorium. And all of you, all 1,000 of you, you pick up your phones on Tuesday, because they're not going to be working tomorrow. Call the governor, because they do log those calls, and it does make a difference. So, does everybody hear me in the back? Does Governor Murphy hear us? All right. Back to you, Mayor.
Okay, all right, folks. Now, you heard just... Well, all right. We're here for the whales today. We're here for the whales today. Save our whales! 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 You know, I have to emphasize again that our ocean is best protected and always protected best in a bipartisan way. This ocean is bipartisan, it's for everyone, and people have differences of opinion, but we need everyone. We're going to need Democrats, Republicans, Independents, LMNOPs, whatever. We need everyone working together and making the case. We have a great case. You've heard from everybody. There's lots of evidence to show that there's a concern out here with the massive industrialization. You heard the numbers. 2.2 million acres. That's twice the size of the Grand Canyon. It's going to be 3,500 turbines as tall as the Chrysler Building and 10,000 miles of cable. That's the distance between Los Angeles and New York City 3.5 times. And that's just by 2030. This has got to stop. We need to have, this is way too much, way too fast. Now, you've all heard about the devastation of the whales. That's why you're all here. We have 3 things for you to do, and then the mayor is going to rally us all up for a final action. First of all, if you haven't already signed the petition, please sign the petition. What this petition calls for is an investigation. We make the connection of all the activity as a plausibly connected to all the activity offshore. We want an investigation, so please sign that. And you can also sign online using the QR code. There's also an action sheet that you can get to on our website, cleanoceanaction.org. There's an action plan that you can take that has 3 things. There's just for starters, on February 27th, the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection is having a very rare opportunity to speak on computer, but on computer is the best we can get. But please sign up for that. They want to hear from the public how they're doing at protecting the ocean. So that's really important. That's for you to share your views to Governor Murphy. The next action is the one that the congressman talked about on March 16th. That's his hearing down South Jersey in is it Wildwood?
So it's definitely that date. So save the date, and very shortly we will have the time and the exact location. But it will be here in South Jersey.
Fantastic. And there'll be lots of other, I'm telling you, the federal agencies, the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management, who is in charge of all this, has lots of stuff going on. So please follow us on social media or check out our website periodically. We've got the action steps that you're going to need to take to put what you've done today into real action to make the changes we need. And the final thing that I want to echo what everyone has said is to contact your elected officials. There is a way on our website where you can find out who your elected officials are if you don't know. You can click on the links and find out. They need to hear from you. They need to hear from you. The ocean doesn't have a voice. You are the ocean's voice. And that's so very, very important. And so we're all going to take a little trip toward the ocean today. But before, I just want to say, if you haven't seen a critter up close, of course we have Jenkinson's here. If you want, take the kids, get a little visit with some of the animals that we don't really see on a day-to-day basis. And I think that's part of the problem. One final point I want to make. There have been hundreds of renewable energy facilities that have been stopped on land because citizens didn't want them in their own backyards. Now we have a massive industrialization from Massachusetts to South Carolina because they don't think this is anyone's backyard. It's all our backyard, and we have to protect it. Mayor Kenicha, what do we do now?
Let's give Cindy a big round of applause. Tricia and Leslie a big round of applause. Our congressmen, our state assemblymen, and our local mayors, and all of you. So thank you so much for coming out to Point Pleasant Beach. Make sure you shop in our stores before you go. Buy yourself some dinner before you go. You've got some action items before you, and I think the first one should start right now. Why don't we send a message that we're all in this together? We're already freezing our butts off. Why don't we all walk down to the beach underneath that kite right there and take one huge photo together? All right? Thanks so much. We'll see you down on the beach.